From the perspective of the industry here, Jason, is this something we're going to see across the board? Because for Microsoft, when they made layoffs, we sort of thought, oh, it's the M&A deal. But more broadly, is this another industry group that got too big during COVID and now has to slim back down?
Thank you for having me. While these layoffs were significant, they're not surprising. We're going to continue to see more layoffs throughout 2024. For context, we saw about 3% of the global gaming workforce laid off in 2023. We're in February, and we've already seen 2% of that workforce laid off. We expect that number to continue to rise, both with groups that have already done rounds of layoffs like Microsoft Gaming, Unity, Riot, and others, and also some newer companies that haven't yet announced.
Why, Jason? Why are the companies doing this belt tightening?
It's a great question. It's because money is not cheap anymore. We were all bloated and we got way too comfortable, hired way too many people in the post-COVID boom. Every company, including in games as well as in tech, is having to right-size their industry. We need to do more with less. We need to get more capital efficient. And I think you're seeing that hit gaming in full force in 2023 and 2024.
Okay, so the narrative back in early 2023 when the big tech companies were belt tightening was, well, they'll leave some of this talent and go and build their own ventures. But is this also happening at the startup level? Are you seeing belt tightening, layoffs happening there too? And ultimately, what does it mean for your part of the industry?
Absolutely. It's happening both with the big players and also the small players. So, the startups are not isolated from these concerns either. We've seen across many of our companies an average of about 30% pullbacks in staff, and we expect that to continue. And all those companies are either doing the same on a top line basis or actually better. And so I think that just shows you that we got inefficient. And I think that's a lesson learned in games. It's a lesson learned in tech. And as I said before, money is not cheap anymore. And people, it's very hard for them to raise both in public and also in private settings for capital.
I think long term, we're talking about generative AI being a tool to accelerate game development. But right now, I'm playing PlayStation right now. I'm playing Switch. I'm enjoying the games. But there isn't sort of one title or trend or thing that I'm really excited about in 2024. Maybe Star Wars Outlaws. Shout out that game. It's going to be incredible. But do you see what I mean? There isn't a sort of short-term catalyst to drive a spending cycle. I wondered if you agree with that, Jason.
I think you're going to have to look to the UGC platforms. You're going to have to look to Roblox. You're going to have to look to UEFN with Epic and Fortnite. Obviously, huge announcements there with the Disney investment. I think you're going to see a lot of new titles come from those regions versus kind of these standalone huge titles that you see more historically announced by the major groups. So I would tell you, go on Roblox. Let's go play on Fortnite together. There's some exciting things coming down the pipeline there. But definitely noted also the big disappointment in the games industry, obviously, is that Grand Theft Auto got delayed to 2025. That was a huge disappointment for many, and probably it sounds like for you, Ed, as well. So yes, while in the games industry, we're going to have to make do with UGC for a little bit. There are some other exciting titles coming out here, and I think we're going to have to make do with some of the older content for the rest of the year.